I can feel a little bit of spin there. I'm still too close. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the all-new Volkswagen GLI, and this one's in the Autobahn package. Before getting this video, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the strong Volkswagen here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this GLI. I'm going to include a link to that inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you're wondering, this one is available for sale, and they also happen to have a black one as well if you're interested. Both of them have manual transmissions. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Alex. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. Fuel economy is 26 around town and then 37 on the highway, with power outputs being 228 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood here, you guys can see distinctive lines there on either side, and then it's just flat in the center. And then coming down below, you guys can see those really distinctive LED daytime running lights in a C shape with the headlights. And then notice with this red accenting that goes to the Volkswagen logo, you got a GLI badge there off to the side. And then I love those accent pieces on either side as well. And then when you put it all together, the new GLI looks really cool. Coming around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 225, 45, 18 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then you can see here with the wheel design how it's all blacked out. And you got pretty chunky spokes. And then you got the red brake calipers, which really pull together. We got another GLI badge. Notice that the mirror has been blacked out. And then also look at the roof as well. And then we do have cool side skirt action here. And then when you look at the side profile, all I gotta say is it ain't no regular Jetta. This thing is a GLI. It looks good. Now here's the key fob. You guys can see we've got our unlock function, the opening here for the trunk, and then our lock function, and then Volkswagen logo there on the back. So if we just hold this down, it'll kind of like slightly pop it. Actually, it'll do it all the way. Well, never mind. Now popping inside, you guys will notice that we have these little buttons right here to throw down the seats, and overall storage space here in the back is actually pretty substantial. And then when you're all done, plop. Got the new style of taillights here for the GLI, and then we've got this low profile blacked out spoiler, and you can see Volkswagen logo, GLI badge. And then we have really sporty exhaust tips here at the bottom, and I do like the design here on the diffuser. And putting this all together, I definitely do think this has a very handsome design overall. Now popping inside, you guys can see we've got padding here on the door panel, and then we got our Volkswagen door handle, which I'm actually a big fan of. It looks pretty cool, but that's pretty much it. Now this is where the real interior magic begins. Look at the red stitching, and then you guys can see there's like red behind the perforations here with these seats. Definitely a cool look. You guys can see legroom solid back here, and we got like red there on the floor mat. I guess I don't get a storage pocket, but my buddy next to me does. And then headroom's also solid back here. And we of course have a cup holder armrest. Would you look at that? Notice the keyless entry. Well, the front door panel definitely looks a little bit pizzazzier, I suppose. You guys can see the trim here at the top, and look at the red stitching down below. All of our window controls here, and then the mirror adjustments. You guys can see the handle set up there, and then there's a quick look at the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring, if you're wondering, and then another opening there for the trunk. And then here is our front seat. You can see again with the red stitching, and then look how it's perforated all down the center of the seat. And then we have all of our memory seat functions. We got our power adjustments, and then lumbar as well. 3-pedal layout here at the bottom, and the pedals look very premium. And then you guys can see the light control. Notice we got a little bit of ambient lighting there, and then we got more of this like red / blacked out trim. So here is the steering wheel. You guys can see really nice leather trim here. Notice how it's got the golf ball texture here on the side, which feels really cool and gives you a better grip. GLI badge there at the bottom. Notice the red trim. And then we got some controls here for like the center stack, voice command controls, and then some stuff for the radio, cruise control as well. Turn signal stock, windshield wiper stock. We have this full digital gauge cluster here, which I think looks really cool. And then I can press that view button, and I can kind of change how the whole setup looks here in the center, which I don't know, I think that's another fun thing. But notice, like, for example, I got like compass. I guess we can change the view so we can have a mega compass. So similar to like Audi's virtual cockpit, if you've seen my reviews on new Audis. So overall, I think it's great. Now in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines here, and you can see resolution is pretty solid. Now we still have some plastic wrapping on the one side of the infotainment system that covers some shortcut buttons. But as for the system itself, you guys can see response time with different functions here on the screen. It's actually really good. And then when you press the little buttons there on the side, also pretty quick with the overall response time. And so I'd have to say pretty easy to use infotainment system, and I think it's great overall. We got some nice stitching and padding here on the dash, and then you guys can see the darker trim down below. Dual zone climate controls here in the GLI. We also have heated seats for the front passengers, and then down below that we have our little charging area with some USBs and a charging pad. Now this is where the fun begins. So we have our engine stop start there, parking brake, that's our drive mode select, and then stability control 12 volt, and then we have our shifter for the 6-speed manual. So we'll kind of talk about this more as we drive it, but really easy to get this transmission into gear. Now the reverse lockout I'm not a fan of because it's like one of those push down and go up, which is not a bad thing whatsoever because it prevents people from money shifting. But when you go from like first gear, like if you're backing up and going forward first gear to the reverse, like you constantly have to like it's a little bit of a process. Now speaking of those drive modes, you guys can see we've got a sport, custom, we got an eco, comfort, and then a normal mode as well. And something's cool is when you pop in sport mode, the gauge cluster gets red. We've got a couple cup holders here, and then you guys can see really nice padding and stitching here for the center console. And that's weird that it's like a different color inside. But I mean, it makes it so you can see down to the bottom, which is great. And then got a normal glove box. So we've got controls here for our sunroof at the top, and then we have, well, a shade that you can just roll back for the roof itself, and I think it looks good. So here's our warranty sticker for this GLI. You guys can see 4-year, 50,000 mile new vehicle warranty. Base MSRP is $31,345. Total MSRP on this, $32,969. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood. Both the mirrors do blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, brake down, first gear. Let's set off. Setting off in the GLI. And, you know, I'm not even going that fast and I'm already having a blast. So, this transmission is actually really good. So, it's not quite as, like, notchy as what you might find in something like a Civic Type R. And obviously, this is way less expensive than a Civic Type R, but I'm just trying to make a comparison for you guys. But that being said, I actually like the overall feel of the shifter. It's very direct with getting it into the gates, and so I think that they've just done a good job with the overall shifter setup. Torque is great. I gotta love manuals. Got my seat a little bit too close though, but I will pop it into the sport mode. Now I think the sport mode kind of pipes in, already had it in the sport mode. I think the sport mode kind of pipes in some audio with it because it sounds louder in the sport mode than the other modes, but I listened to the exhaust and the exhaust sounded about the same, so pretty sure this doesn't have a valved exhaust. Now before we get our acceleration, something to mention is this does have a limited slip differential, so that should help out with putting down the power quite a bit, being front wheel drive. I can feel a little bit of spin there. I'm still too close. I guess my legs are longer than I remember. Still got a little bit of spin there, but honestly, not that bad. Not that bad at all. I love how it's telling me to shift because it's like, Ben, be more economical, I suppose. Love the feeling of the steering wheel. Seat comfort is amazing here in the GLI. I really like this car, honestly. It's easy to rev match downshift with this. Again, that's my first, wait, let me make sure this is not, I'm getting suspicious now that this has auto rev match. Let's see. Oh no, it doesn't. That was me this time. So yeah, this is really easy to rev match downshift. Like I was able to line up the RPMs pretty much perfectly. And again, first time in this car. And typically, turbo 4-cylinders are not the easiest to match the RPMs because they're just, the throttle isn't the most blippable a lot of the times. But yeah, I mean, I was able to do that perfectly first time. So summing things up, I came into this review thinking that this was just going to be basically a souped up Jetta. Seriously, I'm like, okay, it's a Jetta with some red badges and, you know, maybe a little bit of extra horsepower. But what this really is, and this might make some Volkswagen purists offended. This is basically a GTI sedan. So what I was saying is this is basically a GTI sedan. Like, it has the power, it's got the manual transmission, it's like, and it's got the interior as well. It pretty much has everything, and this is a lot less expensive. Even starting at a second gear there, like at low RPMs, this thing's so fun to drive. Yeah, like it has everything. It's less expensive. So here's what I have to say. I'm a GTI fan. Like, trust me, I love the hatchback look, just like everyone else. But they're harder to come by, and on top of that, they're more expensive. And that's not even including, you know, the market adjustments you usually see on GTIs, because again, since there's so many people that want them and not enough of them, then, you know, dealers definitely have pricing power with them. And so, like, this, on the other hand, like, it's slept on. That's what this is. This is the most slept on Volkswagen of all time. And so, yeah, like, if you basically want a GTI, but you don't want to pay the GTI price premium, then I think that that's what the GLI gives you. And so let me know what you guys think about this thing, but I am a big fan. That's gonna sum things up with our video with this GLI. Again, a huge shout out and thank to the Strong Volkswagen here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this GLI. Check out the info in the description down below. Ask for Alex. I'll see you.